Hi and welcome to my kombucha kitchen. Congratulations on your new kombucha. You have received the mushroom, which is a SCOBY, also known as a SCOBY, which is symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. You have starter tea in a container, a cover that's probably made of t-shirt material, and a rubber band. You never want to use cheesecloth on your kombucha. You want to use something like you have here, which is t-shirt's perfect. Make sure it's clean. Before you ever handle a SCOBY, also known as a kombucha mushroom, make sure that you clean your hands very thoroughly with hot water and vinegar. Don't use soap. Hot water and vinegar is just fine. Kind of give you an idea what your SCOBY looks like. It's very beautiful, and it might not look exactly like this, but it's like a jellyfish. This is a very mature SCOBY. Yours will probably be quite a bit thinner than that. That's kind of pretty mature there. So what you're going to do when you get your SCOBY home is, you don't have to play around with it, just leave it as it is. You're going to have 5 days to deal with your SCOBY. Within the 5 days you're going to boil make sure you boil water. You use about 4 to 5 tea bags of a caffeinated tea. Black tea is traditional, but you may use any type of tea like green tea, as long as it has caffeine in it. You want to put a cup of sugar in your tea mixture. Put your boiling water in there with a cup of sugar in your 4 tea bags. Dissolve the sugar nicely while it's still hot. And this is when the contamination could happen during this tea brewing process. So make sure that you give it a nice cover while you're cooling it to room temperature with a clean cloth or something, so no contaminants get in there. Once this is to room temperature, like this one is, what I'm going to do is transfer it into another container just to make it easier to pour into my SCOBY kombucha brew there. So you can use a pitcher or whatever's easiest for you. Just using another glass container. So you're going to add your tea that you brewed and brought to room temperature to your new SCOBY, just like this. Go ahead and add it all. Alright, and now you're going to cover it, rubber band it. Mark your calendar, 14 days from today. Put this somewhere quiet and where it won't be disturbed or moved. These don't like to be moved very much, so remember not to move your SCOBY around too much. Doesn't like it. It'll, for instance, like on top of your refrigerator is a really great place to let it sit. So 14 days later, you're going to be able to start drinking this. And what you're going to see on top of your SCOBY in 14 days, your main SCOBY that you just purchased and started using is going to be probably down the bottom, maybe in the middle, but you're going to see a thin layer on top, and that's going to be your new SCOBY. That will be your baby. It'll look something like this. It's going to be very thin, but it's going to be probably the whole width of your container on top there. This one's kind of been handled a little bit today. So that, can you get in there a little? So that's going to be on top. So start drinking 2 to 4 ounces a day. 4 ounces is considered therapeutic, so you want to kind of get up to that. 2 to 3 ounces is recommended a day, just before you eat is good, or after meal, whatever you want. You're going to also see after some time that you're going to have some stuff that looks like swamp water. If you can see all the sediment, that stuff's good for you. Don't worry about that. If you get a little bit in your shot, that's even better. So drink up. If you'd like to continuous brew after 14 days, you'll start to drink. You'll go ahead and remove that baby from the top layer. Like I said, it could be thin like the one you saw earlier. And you're going to sterilize your next container using hot water and vinegar. And also before handling anything, you always want to make sure you sterilize your hands with hot water and vinegar. Sterilize your container. Transfer that baby with some starter tea, which you'll have now, because after 14 days, this is now can be used for your starter tea as well. So you're going to transfer some of this tea in here. It's kind of like a fish tank where you want to keep that stuff in there. You're going to fill up your new batch here with about the same amount as you got to begin with. And you're going to add that baby to this container. You're going to start the whole brewing process like you did with the tea, same way you did here. So then you're going to let this sit for 14 days. Soon you'll have continuous brewing when you're down here, to where you want to always leave at least a quarter of your liquid here and start a new batch, and then you can drink this one. So when you get down to about here, you need to add fresh tea and sugar. You know, through the boiling process, add your fresh tea and sugar to your kombucha. Let it sit 14 days. But as you continuous brew, you'll be able to drink your second one that you've made. So enjoy, and there's a lot of good information out there on the website. Happy kombucha.